Good morning, everyone. Happy Saturday. I'm out for another walk. I'm trying to embark on a healthier lifestyle, so I figured why not take you along with me? So I'm actually at this forest preserve I haven't been to since I was a kid. I used to come here with my friends. We would ride our bikes through these trails, and it's very beautiful, and it's really bringing back memories. What I love is that although we had snow earlier in the week, we haven't had any more ice, and these particular trails are like crushed gravel rather than paved cement or blacktop or whatever, so they're not slippery. So very fun. Of course, I have a story to tell you while we walk. I'm going to point you out so you can see the beautiful nature scenery. So I'm going to tell you a story about the time my friend and I got fired on exactly the same day. It was from two different companies, but it's pretty funny. So I was talking to my friend on the phone last night, and we went to college together, and we are very, very close. We have, oh, there goes the train. Pardon the noise. Burlington, Santa Fe. Anyways, yeah, this is bringing back memories. Oh my gosh. There was a hill here that we used to go sledding on. It doesn't look like they do that anymore, but it's just pretty, you know? There's this little river here, this bridge. You hear lots of birds, but I don't see many animals. It's actually a pretty small preserve. When I was a kid, there was I feel like I'm remembering this right. I think there was a rope or like a tire. I don't think it had a tire, but there was a rope hanging from probably that big tree that cantilevers across the stream here. And, you know, people would swing back and forth over, kids would swing across that. I don't think I ever did that, but I remember watching it. Now, luckily, this is not a very large forest preserve, so I don't think we could get lost. Let's not try it. So I was talking to my great friend from college. We went to college together many years ago. And I actually did a video about part of this story. And it was called something like Big Dick's Temp Agency or something like that. And it was, if you get a chance to check it out, it was pretty cute. But my friend had been, I guess, looking for a job, and at the time, 20 years ago, you know, and we were talking on the phone, and she found this place called Big Dick's Temp Agency, which had nothing to do with dicks. It was just the guy's name that owned it. It was in Texas, and I dared her to take the job, and because we loved the name. And she did. It was just like a secretarial position, and she lasted like a day or two and then got fired. But it reminded me of that time in life. And when we graduated from college, it was shortly after the 9/11 terror attacks in New York, and you know, people were getting jobs and things, and I just had no interest whatsoever in working in an office at that point in my life. My parents had a lot of friends in the financial industry, and some of them had children that were killed in the attacks. And it was just really scary, and I was like, I'm out of here. I'm going to Europe. So I went to south of France and in Italy. And after about 18 months, my parents called for me, sent for me, and said, it's time to come home. I said, okay, well, they said, you need to get a job. You have all that education, and you should be working. Okay, well, I wasn't real motivated, I guess. And my father set out on a mission to find me a job. And I didn't want to work at the family business. And so, unbeknownst to me, although I probably kind of knew, he was calling in favors, calling his contacts to find me a job. So a family friend of ours owned a company that was a medical statistics company. Now, that sounds like the last thing on earth I would ever be interested in doing. I mean, that was the one class. I did very well in school, but that was the one class that I could have very easily failed if I took this class because I needed it for a requirement to graduate. It was also at the same time when I was writing my thesis. So I was extremely busy, and I actually enjoyed the thesis because it was, creative, and it was writing, and those are things that I am very good at. But mathematics or statistics, I found out I knew I hated math, but I really despise statistics. I was like, what are we even talking about? This is ridiculous. So at some point, I even stopped going to the class, and I was thinking, well, I'll just, drop it and retake it when I have more time to focus on it. But time was of the essence, and I needed to graduate, and so I waited until like the last week and then realized that I need to drop this. And when I went to go sign up again, I found out that let's go this way. I found out that they didn't offer that exact class again in the time frame in which I needed it, which would enable me to graduate at the time I was intending to graduate. Instead, I had to sign up for another version of the class, which just so happened to be even more difficult. Oh my God, this life of mine. So I muttered through it. Oh my God. And I think that was the only class I ever got a C in. And let me just tell you, I was very happy to have it because I just wanted it to be over. So you might imagine my surprise then when I was offered this job working for a medical statistics company. Gee, I wonder how that happened, that I got this job offer when I never even had a job at that point. So, like I said, it was our dear family friend, and he gave me this job, and I said to him, is this going to involve calculating any statistics? He said, no, it's going to involve managing people. And I said, terrific. The people I can very well work with. Statistics, not so much. So I was actually managing this department that was people who were collecting the statistics. And so I did trainings and stuff like that. And I actually really ended up liking it. I mean, the when I took the job, I thought, I'm here for a good time, not a long time. And I ended up staying longer than I had intended, just because the people that I worked with, I enjoyed so much, you know. They were fun. It was mostly people in their, 20s and 30s, and they enjoyed, being silly and cutting up. And I remember one time I was in my office, and one of the executives called, and I had to tell everybody, be quiet, because I had 5 people in my office at that point. One of them was dancing, one of them was singing, and 3 others were talking. And it was like, oh my God, they're gonna think we're having a party in here. And well, I guess we might kind of have been, but you gotta have fun at work, right? So, and that we did. Oh man, I remember this one time we went out to have drinks, or have dinner first, and then we were gonna have drinks. And there was this girl, LaShonda, and she ordered her meal, and she was like, halfway through it, and she calls the waitress over, and she says, excuse me, I'm gonna need another one of these. A fly got on here and it won't get off. And the woman was like, okay, do you want like another, whatever it was that you were eating? No, I want the whole damn plate. I was like, oh my God. So she brought her the plate, and of course she took like 2 bites and then wanted to take the rest of it home. I was like, oh God. So I'm looking over, and I look at the door for the kitchen, and it's like all the wait staff is there at the door staring out. Like, I think we were the talk of the restaurant that night. These people were boisterous and sassy. But a lot of fun. She also was the one that said to the waitress, excuse me, I'm gonna need it to go. And it was for some cocktail. And the lady was like, we don't give to-go cups for cocktails. And she's like, well, why not? I spent $15 on this. It's fine. I'm probably the one that paid for everyone's dinner that night, but she goes, okay, that's fine. And she waits for a few minutes, and probably another server comes by, and she says, excuse me, I'm gonna need a large to-go cup of ice water. Oh, okay, sure. So they bring out this cup, and she waits until they leave, and then dumps the ice water into a potted plant and fills up her cup with the cocktail as her little roadie or whatever. I was like, oh my God. I have no idea, I didn't ask questions if she drank it on the way home or saved it for when she got home for later. We'll just go with that. But they were nuts and they were fun. But so this company that I was working at, the owner ended up selling it to another company in Maryland. And he said, people are either going to have to move to Maryland or basically get fired. And I think the people, if I remember correctly, that I was managing, a lot of them I don't even think were offered, to move there. And I had no intention of moving there, so I was just like, well, I'm gone, baby, bye, That's what I was thinking. So we, oh my God, I hear a vicious dog down there. Oh God. All right, if that dog comes, I'm gonna jump this fence and run to one of these houses. So this company was basically no longer going to be in existence. I mean, because it was being absorbed, I guess, by this larger company in Maryland. So I don't know exactly what happened, but someone sent an email out, and they sent it as a company-wide email, and it was about the owner. It was this scathing email. It was really, really nasty. I wish I could remember what it said, but it was shocking and like escandalous, Well, they were like, well, we're going to put an end to this. We're going to find out who did this, and they're going to be, fired immediately. All right, I'm back. There was a bunch of people walking past. I didn't want to put them on film here. But, so this scathing email was sent out, completely trashing the owner. And I'm sure it was someone that was extremely upset about not being offered a position in Maryland, which I don't think he had anything to really do about that, because he was going to be out of the business. He was selling it. So, but the email was like tearing him apart, tearing him apart personally, and it was just really nasty and shocking and super scandalous. So, of course, it was the complete talk of the entire company, and everyone knew about it. So the guy was like super embarrassed, right? So I think he was, and there were two owners to this company, so it wasn't my family friend that was the subject of this email. It was this other owner that was sort of like a silent, well, I think he was the founding person, so he was a lot older too, and I barely even knew him. So I was like, I don't know, maybe that stuff is true. But the only time I met him was at his house. He had a party, and he invited like some of the people from the company, and which was kind of weird. And he was perfectly nice. So it was clearly a employee that was upset. So they decide that they're going to get to the bottom of this and find out who sent the email. Well, okay, that shouldn't be all that difficult. Well, I don't know if we just didn't have very sophisticated computer people that knew how to determine that. I mean, obviously it was like done in a relatively sophisticated way, so that it was, their identity was somehow disguised. I don't know about computers like that, so I have no idea how you would even go about trying to do that. So he ends up not having any luck figuring out who sent this thing. So he brings in an outside company to investigate it. And at least that's what he told us. Now, maybe he didn't, and it was just like, forget it, and he just wanted to scare everyone. But he said, we couldn't figure out who sent the email. So they called a meeting, and they said, we're going to have this meeting, and we need to know who sent this email. And if you don't confess, basically, then we're going to fire everyone. And it was everyone within like my department, which these people, I guarantee you, had no idea how to do anything that, you know, technically that would be unable to be very easily unearthed, you know? I mean, it was ridiculous. So he said, we're gonna fire everyone if we don't like get a confession, pretty much. And they had like 2 off-duty Chicago police officers that they had hired like to intimidate, pretty much. Like they were like bouncers standing there because they figured that if they fire people, oh, they're gonna get wild with it, and there's probably gonna be some stuff that goes down, and they wanted security to be there, which was actually probably a smart decision, because I actually worked at another company where something like that did happen, and that's a story for another day. But of course no one confessed, because I don't believe any person there did anything about that. So they said, we're going to fire everyone in this department. Now, I really wasn't included in that, because I already had said I'm not coming to Maryland. And it makes me wonder in hindsight, like, did they completely, you know, plot this themselves so that they could just get rid of this department that they basically weren't going to be utilizing anymore anyways? But I don't know. I mean, what would be the point of that exactly? I mean, just fire them. It was really strange. But so they ended up firing everyone, and so I didn't have anyone to manage anymore, and they knew that I was just like not gonna be devastated to not have that job anymore, and I was leaving anyway, so it was really only a matter of time. So yeah, I got fired. And it just so happened to be on the exact same day as my best friend. So she called me to tell me that she got fired from this stupid job, which was like a joke to begin with. It was at this temp agency called Big Dicks. So she was all upbeat and happy, and she tells me, I got fired today. And I said, oh my God, so did I. And we laughed. And we just had a really funny moment, and I said, well, all right, well, what do you want to do now? She's like, I don't know, what do you want to do? And I said, let's go on Kontiki, which Kontiki is a tour group that goes and does tours for like younger people in their 20s and 30s through Europe, and you know, it was like a party thing. It was a lot of fun. I don't know, should we go this way for a while? Through the neighborhood a bit. So we went on this Kontiki tour, and we had a ball. Oh my God. We went, I don't even remember where we went. Like, it went to a bunch of different places, and we just ended up meeting people from all over, you know, because it's not just Americans, it's people from Europe and stuff. And I think they cut it off at like age 30 or something. But we had, like, I remember this one time when we were on Kontiki. Now, this was kind of gross because they expected that all of these young people would just be going and wanting to get drunk at all the bars. I don't know if we were like in Ireland or at that point or what. So, and of course, a lot of the people weren't, you know, were under 21, so they couldn't legally drink in the United States. So they were super pumped to be, you know, in places where they could, and they were hell-bent and determined to completely messed up. So when we would go on these like buses and stuff like that, they would line the floors with towels. And you're like, what is going on? Why are they putting towels down? They're like, oh, we've done this before. It's like, okay. Well, yeah, when these drunk, out of control fools get so drunk, they would be throwing up on the floor of the bus. It was, luckily there was only a couple people that were doing that, so, but crazy. So the funny story about that was, this one young guy was there with his buddy, and I'm assuming that they were in their young 20s, you know. So they ended up getting completely wasted. And on this particular night, I think they tried to keep things a little more, I don't know, less expensive, I guess you could say, because it was a lot of young people. So one of the things that they did was, instead of staying at like really high-end hotels and things like that, they did some bed and breakfasts. So of course everyone was all like split up at different ones. So this guy and his buddy were at this one particular bed and breakfast, and it was like an older woman, and I think it was just kind of a situation where she had a house and she rented a room or whatever, I don't know. So everyone's experience was different because you don't know what that bed and breakfast is going to be like. And I was with friends, so I wasn't too worried about it. So anyways, this guy and his friend got completely wasted. So this guy ended up pissing the bed in this woman's house. Well, he was so drunk that he apparently woke up in the night, realized that he had pissed the bed. So he just got into the bed with his buddy. So I don't know what happened, but the next morning, the lady, I guess, saw the bed, and she flipped the F out, obviously, because like you just destroyed this woman's mattress. That dog is making me really nervous, and I don't know where it's coming from. Let's go back. Yeah, so of course she contacted the tour company, and I hope the tour company reimbursed her for the mattress, or hopefully that jackass did. But oh my gosh, yeah, so that's a little bit of a straying away from the story, which was about getting fired. But yeah, we both got fired on exactly the same day, and we were so happy. So anyways, we're getting healthy, we're starting to eat better here, going on walks. When the summer comes, I'm hoping that I'm gonna get out a whole lot more. So I'm down 5 pounds this week. Woohoo! Anyways, I hope you're all having a beautiful Saturday. Get out and take a walk, people. Enjoy. If you haven't subscribed yet, it's not too late. If you have, welcome to the family. I love you for watching.